Namaskar. I am Dr. Aarti Chaudhary, Assistant Professor in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Culture and Archaeology at Vasant Kanya Mahavidyalaya, Banaras Hindu University. I welcome you all to this 12-week course titled History of Science and Technology in Ancient India from Harappan Civilization to 7th Century CE. We are here in Module 2 and Lecture 2. So let's see what is in our baggage. Module 2 is Science and Technology in Harappa Civilization and Lecture 2 is Harappan Metallurgy. So let's start to learn the Harappan Metallurgy. First, the learning objectives of this topic are to discuss metal and technique used by the Harappans, to know the archaeological evidences related to the metal technology, and to understand the societal impact of metallurgy on Harappans. In our previous lecture, we have studied about the town planning of the Harappans, and now we are moving towards the Harappan metallurgy, which is the basic characteristics of the Harappan civilization. That's why this civilization is called Bronze Age civilization as well. In this topic, we are going to discuss about types and sources of metal, metallurgical techniques, what performed by the Harappans, Harappan pyrotechnology, typology of artifacts, the controversy of iron, and scholars' insights on Harappan metallurgy. The Harappan civilization demonstrated remarkable metallurgical skills, primarily using copper, bronze, lead, tin, silver, and gold. Archaeological findings from sites like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and Lothal reveals a variety of metal artifacts including tools, weapons, and ornaments. The Harappans mastered the lost wax casting technique as seen in the famous bronze dancing girl statue. They also crafted intricate gold and silver jewelry, indicating a high level of expertise in metal refining and shaping. Additionally, the presence of bronze tools suggests knowledge of alloying, as tin was mixed with copper to enhance durability and made bronze. What I said earlier, the Indus Valley civilization, or you call Harappa civilization, or you can also call Indus Saraswati civilization. In the metallurgical perspective, it is called Bronze Age civilization. They know how to make bronze, like how to prepare bronze by the mixture of copper and tin. What we have to study it in our upcoming slides as well. The Harappans' metallurgical expertise not only improved their tools and art but also influenced later culture in the Indian subcontinent. Hence, I divided metallurgy of Harappan civilization for sake of your understanding in 4 points. In first point, type and sources of metal used. In second point, metallurgical techniques. Third point, typology of artifacts. And finally, Harappan pyrotechnology. The types and source of metals. First, we have to understand this, then we will go ahead. The metal used by Harappans were sourced from different regions and traded across vast distance, suggesting the civilization's extensive trade network. The most common metal used by the Harappans people are as follows, that is copper, bronze, tin, gold, lead, and silver. First, we have to discuss about the copper because they extensively use copper metal. According to Kenoyer and Miller, they indicate three possible sources for the Indus copper. The combined area of Balochistan and Afghanistan to the west of the Indus Valley extending from Badakhshan to coastal Makran. The inland mountain range of modern Oman is one of the other side of the Arabian Sea. The east of the Indus and Ghagra Hakra Valley comprises the north-south oriented Aravalli mountain range of Rajasthan, indicating that the possible sources of copper mine are Khetri in Jaipur district, Khodariba in Alwar district, Dilwara Kiroli and Debari in Udaipur district. These mines are very important because the Harappans extracted the ores from these copper mines. The main Indian copper minerals, which is reported by the geologists in the northwest India, they are chalcopyrite, in which copper present, the amount of copper is 34.6% copper. Second is chalcocite, it is 79.8% copper it carry. Boronite, 55.5% copper. Tetrahydrite, 52.1% copper. Covellite, 66.5% copper. Malsite, 57.3% copper. And azurite, which is 55.1% copper they carry. Khetri Singhana in Jaipur district, Khodariba in Alwar district, Dilwara Kiroli in Udaipur district and Debari also in Udaipur district. These are the most important mining area of copper from where the Harappans extracted copper ores. Let me explain Khetri Singhana, Khodariba, Dilwara Kiroli, Debari with few points. First, we have to discuss Khetri. Outside Singhana, several million tons of slag heaps are lying. The ore used was chalcopyrite, which occurs with pyroxite disseminated in shales, phyllite, schist, and quartzite. Here, copper content of ore is 0.75 to 4%. If we study Khodariba, then according to the geologist, ore occurs as veins and lodes in most phylites along the contact plane, separating them from quartzite. The mineralization of chalcopyrites and chalcocite occur here under Gosan area. Old slag heaps are reported from here. In terms to understand Dilwara Kiroli, old working are reported from Dilwara Kiroli, Vilota and again in Kiroli. Extensive slag heaps were found at Dilwara and this area. Chalcopyrite and malsite are associated with quartzite and biotite actinolite schist. Malsite has 6.8% copper. From Debari, malsite, chalcopyrite, cuprite, azurite and boronite have been reported from this area. So, we can see Khetri, Khodariba, Dilwara, Debari, they are the most important copper minings which used by the Harappan people. Let's see, we have already know about this image which is dancing girl. It made by bronze. It is an alloy of copper and tin, was extensively used to enhance hardness and create more durable tools and artifacts. The famous dancing girl figurine from Mohenjo-daro is a prime example of their bronze metallurgy expertise. It is made by lost wax technique. It is used by the Harappans for metal casting. It begins with crafting a detailed wax model, which was then coated with clay to form a mold. Once dried, the mold was heated to melt and drain out, the wax leaving a hollow cavity. Molten metal, usually bronze, was then poured into this cavity and left to cool. After solidification, the clay mold was broken to reveal the final metal object, which was then polished and refined. This technique allowed for the creation of fine, detailed artifacts such as the famous bronze dancing girl figurine from Mohenjo-daro. Let's come to the next metal, which is gold. Just look at the picture. These jewelry are so fine and made definitely by expertise hands. These jewelry beads are so tiny and it is very perfectionally placed in a very sophisticated manner, and then it made by the artisan. Gold was primarily used for making ornaments and jewelry at the Harappan period. Several evidences of gold have been found from sites like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, etc. Gold was also reported from Tigrana, situated in Haryana. This site is Harappan site. The possible source of gold can be the natural deposit of gold dust in the Indus River bed, the Kolar gold fields from South India, and the trade with Mesopotamia. Gold was also mixed with silver in a 60:40 ratio, forming an alloy called electrum. Here, electrum is very important. Note down it. When the mixture of gold and silver in the ratio of 60:40, then that particular ornament or that particular thing or that particular any metal object is called electrum. Now, tin. Tin, it was a rare but essential material for making bronze, generally used for alloying, stand not as a stand-alone metal. The possible sources of tin can be Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region of Pakistan, part of Afghanistan and Rajasthan, that holds trace of tin deposit, along with Khanak of Haryana. This Khanak site is very important in terms to understand the tin metallurgy, because in Khanak the archaeologists trace many furnaces which prove the activity of metallurgical process at that particular region in Khanak. The Harappans possibly made bronze at that particular area in a particular time frame, and this copper metallurgy, when it attached with tin, then bronze appeared. One thing is important here, because not every Harappan site discovered many objects of bronze. Even big sites like Rakhigadi, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Chanhudaro, Kalibanga have few examples, but the metallurgical process, the expertise like we had in the form of dancing girl, they well known in the technology of bronze, we cannot deny it. So it is very important to study the metallurgical aspect of Harappan civilization. If we turn into the next metal, then it is silver and lead. According to Shashi Asthana, silver was quite popular with the Harappans living at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. But at Lothal and Kalibanga, it was rarely used. Silver were used for making vases and ornaments such as bracelet, bangle, and beads. Asthana also held the view that possibly the most promising source for silver at Mohenjo-daro and Harappa is in Afghanistan and Iran. Well-known silver mines are also known to have existed near the head of the Panjshir Valley in the southeastern Hindu Kush. Lead mines, which could have been a source of silver as well, are situated in the Ghorban Valley of Afghanistan and are common in southern Afghanistan, especially at Hazrat Hazrajat. This picture is from Mohenjo-daro. This silver seal have been reported from Mohenjo-daro. Maybe it might be that unicorn is impressed on this particular seal. Now the metallurgical technique. Till now we have seen the different archaeological objects which is reported from the different Harappan site, whether it was bronze, whether it was made by copper or made by silver, gold, lead. And now what technology they preferred to make this all their ornament or some another metal object. The first one is ore extraction and smelting. Second one is alloying. Third one is metal casting and modeling technique. And finally, metal working and finishing technique. At discussion of the sources, let's discuss the metallurgical technique first. If we discuss the first point, then getting metal from the earth is extraction of metal. Smelting is heating the ore and separate metal from impurities. Alloying is mixing two and more metal to make a new metal. Like bronze, when we mix copper and tin, then bronze appear. Arsenic and copper alloy also reported from the metallurgical aspect of Harappan civilization. Metal casting and modeling, lost wax casting technique, open and close molding, hammering and forging, metalworking and finishing, annealing, engraving and inlay work, as well as beads making metal tools. Let's explain it one by one. The Indus people sourced their raw materials from local and distant regions. Copper was primarily obtained from Khetri mine, tin was sourced from Afghanistan, and gold came from Kolar goldfield, and silver were likely imported from Iran. The smelting, it is a process of extracting metal from their ores by heating them at high temperatures. Furnace was used in smelting as evident from the site like Harappa, Lothal and Mohenjo-daro. Slag, waste material from smelting. Slag from Lothal and Harappa confirm that the Harappans knew how to extract metal from ore. Furnaces found at Harappan site suggest that there was use of charcoal as a reducing agent to extract copper and other metal. The smelting process may have reached temperature as high as 1034 degrees Celsius to 1200 degrees Celsius necessary for melting copper. So, the smelting, slag, waste material management, the smelting process, how to extract from the metal from its ore, the heating process, the melting process were well known, introduced by the Harappan people on the behalf of their metallurgical technique. Now we can understand the alloying. What we have the evidence that the Harappans were well known with the process of alloying. Alloying involves mixing two or more metals to enhance their properties. Wide use of bronze and arsenic copper alloys can be seen in the Indus Valley civilization. Bronze made with copper and tin. The most common alloy, stronger than and more durable than pure copper, used for tools, weapons, and sculpture. The Danzigal is the best example of this technique. Arsenic copper alloy. Some Indus copper artifacts contains arsenic, either added intentionally or naturally present in the ore. It increased hardness and was useful when tin was scarce. This suggests a deep understanding of metal properties as arsenic copper alloy were produced deliberately. Lead and silver extraction. Lead was extracted from galena, lead sulfide, which often contained silver. The cupellation process, oxidizing lead to separate silver, might have been known to them as silver objects were found at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. The all techniques were followed by the Harappans. Metal workers were well known how to they extract different materials or minerals from the ore area, and they coupled it, mixed it, and appear some kind of different metal. These were continuously practiced by the Harappan metal workers. Metal casting and molding. This example is also evidenced in the different Harappan sites. Like first one is lost wax casting. It is also called cire perdue method. It is a French word. Cire means wax, perdue means lost. Used for integrate metal objects, this technique was performed. Example, dancing girl figurine from Mohenjo-daro. And the process was wax model, then clay coating, heating to remove wax, molten metal poured, clay mount broken to reveal the final object. It is a short form. We have already discussed and explained it with the picture in the previous slide. Open and closed molding was also reported. Open molds were used for simple flat objects such as ingot and plates. Closed mold allowed for more complex three-dimensional objects like axes and spearheads. Molds were often made of clay or stone, indicating an understanding of heat-resistant materials. Next process is hammering and forging. Many copper and bronze tools were hammered into shape rather than cast. This process involved heating metal and repeatedly hammering it to strengthen and shape it. This technique was used for chisel, knife, arrowheads, and other tools. Metal casting, metal working, and finishing. Annealing, an important metal working technique. A heat treatment process involving heating metal and gradually cooling it to reduce brittleness. Evidence of work hardened copper tool indicates the use of this technique in the Indus Valley. It enhanced the strength and durability of metal. This technique was primarily used for manufacturing tools. The next technique is engraving and inlay work. The Indus people engraved design on metal objects, particularly seals and ornaments. Gold and silver inlay work has been found on jewelry, indicating highly skilled craftsmanship. Bead making with metal tools. Bead making is very famous in the time period of Harappans. And now we can see the continuation of this bead making technology in Kutch area of Gujarat. This technique is continuing in this area since the Harappans period. Bead making workshop at Lothal shows that metal drills were used to perforate hard stone like carnelian and agate. The precision of these drills suggests the use of high speed rotary tools, possibly operated manually. Harappan pyrotechnology. Use of high temperature processes for producing metal objects, use of crucible and furnaces. Let me explain it in this manner. Do you think the same temperature required in the kitchen and the same temperature required for the metal also? No. We have to decide which temperature is suitable for the kitchen work and which temperature is suitable for the other work. Even in the kitchen, the if we boil the milk, then temperature is different. If we make the roti, then temperature is different. Then the understanding of this temperature, how to maintain temperature according to the work, this technology is called the pyrotechnology, was well known to the Harappans. The ability to control fire and reach the high temperatures needed for melting and alloying metals was a major technological breakthrough performed by the Harappans. Furnaces claimed were used to reach high temperatures suitable for smelting copper and bronze. Sites like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Lothal show a smelting workshop, slag remains, and crucible providing large-scale metallurgy and metal recycle. What is crucible? Crucible was used for melting the metals. Basically, it was the object. Firing a mixture of crushed quartz and alkali to produce a glassy colored material used for beads and decorative items. Glazed pottery and faience artifacts indicate their advanced mastery of temperature regulation and glazing techniques. So we can see here on the slide there is reference of glazed pottery making, there is reference for metal working, there is reference for bead working. Every work technology demands different temperature maintenance, and which was really introduced and managed and beautifully carried by the Harappan's metal workers. According to Vasant Sinde, Harappan pyrotechnology, the Harappans displayed an impressive understanding of pyrotechnology evident from their metalworking, faience production, and kiln fire bricks. Their ability to achieve high temperature set them apart from contemporary civilization. Technology of artifacts. The Harappan civilization produced a diverse range of artifacts reflecting its advanced craftsmanship, trade network, and cultural sophistication. They are as follows: metal tools and weapons. In the category of these, axes, chisel, arrowheads have been found at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, and Dholavira, indicating advanced metallurgical perspective. Seals, seals made up of statite featuring animal motif and inscription have been discovered at Kalibanga, Lothal, Harappa, etc., suggesting their use in trade and commerce. Jewelry and ornaments crafted from gold, silver, and semi precious stone were common at Mohenjo-daro, Rakhigadi, and Chanhodaro. Bronze figurine dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro was found representing artistic traditions and religious belief, as well as in terms of pottery, including painted and redware, was prominent at Surkodada, Kalibangan, and Dholavira, reflecting artistic refinement. The controversy of iron. It is really a furious topic in world, not only in India. One of the most debated aspect of Harappan metallurgy. Traditionally, it has been believed that the Indus Valley civilization was a Bronze Age culture and did not use iron, which became prominent during the Vedic period. Some scholars argue that iron artifacts might have been used in the later phase of the Indus civilization. Brilliant found axes, dagger, borers, arrowheads, swords, chisel, rammer, and fishhook, all made of iron from 6 layers in his excavation at Lothal. Bibilal suggests that some iron fragments found in late Harappan sites may indicate early experimentation with ironworking. According to Rakesh Tiwari, states that evidence from sites like Malhar and Raja Nal Ka Tila suggest iron was known in the Indian subcontinent before 1200 BCE, raising question about its early use in late Harappan context. So these all controversy was made just in this parameter, like the where the iron tools discovered, the context was still in the confusion, or the context was still in the question mark. So we have to wait for the future research to answer these questions. Scholars' insights on Indus Valley metallurgy, which is important. The scholars regularly, continuously doing their study on the Harappan metallurgy, in which few names are very prominent and they are mentioned here. Richard H. Meadow, the evidence of copper and bronze artifacts found across Indus settlements suggests a well organized supply chain that brought raw material from distant sources such as Rajasthan and Balochistan to urban centers like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, where metalworking flourished. According to Jonathan Mark Canoyer, the Indus craftspeople had an advanced understanding of metal alloy, using varying proportions of tin and copper to produce bronze metal and artifacts that were not only functional but also aesthetically refined. According to D.P. Agarwal, the well structured kiln and furnace remains recovered from the site like Harappa and Lothal indicate that the Harappans had mastered the control of high temperatures necessary for metal smelting and casting. According to Jim G. Schaffer, the presence of Harappan metal artifacts in Mesopotamia city like Ur suggests a sustained exchange of metallurgical techniques and resources, reinforcing the idea of a technological, interconnected Bronze Age world. In the concluding remarks, one can say the metallurgy of the Harappan culture stands as one of its most significant technological achievements. The Harappans were skilled metal workers who used a variety of metals to produce tools, ornaments, figurines, etc. Their metallurgical practice were highly advanced, involving casting, forging, and alloying, which facilitated their daily life and trade. The study of Indus Valley metallurgy not only enhanced our understanding of their technological advancement but also shed light on their social and economical organization, contributing to a deeper appreciation of this ancient civilization. So, in the whole lecture, we have seen the metallurgical expertise of the Harappan civilization, and we studied the different techniques introduced and followed by the Harappans, which is really a great contribution of the Harappans to the entire world. These are the references which you can consult for the deep understanding regarding the Harappan metallurgy. Thank you for your patient listening. Namaskar.